Welcome back to the Playhouse. What an amazing story. If you guys are catching us here, please go and catch this from the beginning. Context is such a powerful thing. I now begin to understand why the Old Testament is needed. It gives context to the necessity of the New Testament.
Yes.
Your story, with where we last left off, you touched on the introduction of Halima into your life. Up until the point of marriage, even the miracles that happened on that, to lead up to that. You said something so pivotal in this conversation. You've talked about your definition of success. That on its own is such a powerful thing, and the different pillars. You've talked about family. So Halima comes in as the introduction of that family pillar. But you've also said something which is so amazing to hear, which is you can't explain the success in your career without Halima. And for me, what I'm hearing is this pillar of your career and everything else that's about to come, God, in fact, I understand why he was hastening you to style up and connect with her, is because she was crucial to the next chapters of your life. Continue with this story now.
So, what I can say with absolute certainty, why God was adamant that I must marry this one specific person called Halima, is that she was the key. She was the key, not just to my life, but to the life of so many other people. She had the keys. And once she came in, I remember when she came in, when we got married, I was probably a senior analyst. 2010. By 2013, I was a CEO.
Acceleration. So, what does it? I can't even understand in terms of ranking. Yes. What was the progression like?
I mean, I moved all the way until I became a director in Centum, and then I transitioned to NABO.
What?
We spinned off into NABO. NABO was the first company to spin off from Centum.
Okay.
And now, in fact, one of my biggest struggles with NABO was, how do I take on the title of a CEO? That would belong only to James Mworia. So we had now James Mworia and me in a subsidiary. It was such an unfamiliar territory, but God started preparing me at least an year before, and he was taking me through the spirit of David, and I felt I could feel there was a push for leadership, and I told God this: I don't want to take any leadership position if you won't go with me.
The same thing.
Until you anoint me, I don't want any leadership position. And 1 year later, he just released me. I just felt the release. Now you can.
Okay. It's. I don't think people understand. It's important for us to understand the transition of in
Centum, ICDCI.
Yes, ICDCI to Centum to
then NABO.
NABO, yes. So explain to us.
So 2008.
Yes, explain to us the journey from that side.
Let me explain. Let me start from ICDCI. ICDCI, which is now Centum, had a parent who was called ICDC, which is an investment arm of the government. It's still there even today.
Okay.
They own even today 23% of the company.
Of Centum.
Of Centum. Now, there was such confusion. Who is ICDCI and who is ICDC? Their checks would come to us, and our checks would go there.
Yes.
It was confusing because it was only one letter missing. So there was such a debate whether we should change to another name. And if we change to another name, have we lost our legacy?
Yes.
And this time, 2008, it was just, let's do it.
Okay. And even just again I always think layman, break it down to people why these institutions existed and what
Yeah.
and what they were doing.
Yeah. So ICDC, again, as I've said, was and still is the investment arm of the government.
So when the government wants to invest its funds,
Yes. So through ICDC, they would invest in multinationals that were coming into the country.
Okay.
You get now.
Is this how they invested then in Safaricom or Safaricom?
This is how they invested in the bottling companies. You know, the brands, the old brands.
Okay.
The old brands.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a company that was formed in 1957.
I get it. It has legacy to it.
It has a legacy. But in 1963, when we got independence, after that there was a realization that investment here in Kenya was an exclusive activity of very few elite people. And the rest of the Kenyans were left behind. Again, sorry to use the words, dynasty versus hustlers. You know, and the hustlers were not in the game. So the president, the president felt we need to onboard the Kenyans so that they can participate in this season where multinationals were coming into Kenya. But the citizens were left behind. So
Nairobi Stock Exchange at this time is not.
It was there,
but
it's only a few elite people who are really benefiting from it. So they went. He mandated a few elite Kenyans to go around the country to mobilize funds and form a company that would become the investment vehicle for Kenyans. And that became ICDC Investment.
I get it.
Given birth to by ICDC.
And individuals own shares within the company. And so the company made the decision on how to.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just interjecting
correct.
to see if I'm correct.
You're correct.
You're correct.
So one unique thing about ICDC Investment, and which is now Centum, it was IPO'd on day one.
Yes.
There was no IPO after it's a big company. So it was listed from day one.
I get it.
Yeah.
Through this walking around.
Yes.
Yes, I get.
Yes. So that's something very unique. So that's why you find today it has about 39,000 shareholders. Many of them come from those days.
Yes.
But now there was confusion between these brands because ICDCI was comfortable. It was comfortable to run it when it was being run as a department within ICDC. But now it had gotten its own legs. It had its own management, had its own building, own office space. And this confusion was still there.
And just another question again. So ICDCI was looking around and deciding this is where we're going to invest in.
Yes.
It was the vehicle that
for Kenyans
that made the decision.
It was a charmer for Kenyans.
Yes. On behalf, did it need shareholder authority for it to make the decision to invest?
They would meet AGMs during AGMs.
Okay.
So it was formed in 1967.
Okay, get it.
Yeah.
So now there's this conflict. Checks in the wrong place.
Yes.
And
so that prompted the discussion for rebranding, which it took some bold decisions. I was very involved in it because I was there, and we moved to Centum.
I get it.
Yeah. Now, around that time, 2008, towards the end, guess what? James Mworia comes back from Transcentury.
Yes.
And now he's the CEO
of Centum.
Of Centum.
Okay. Just a question in all of this. Chris Kirubi at this time then was the biggest individual shareholder. Of Centum.
Correct.
Okay.
And he sits on the board. He was not the chair, but he was a director.
Yeah, because he controlled. He needed to know what's happening with his funds.
Yeah. I mean, it was important to have him there because he represented the interest of all shareholders.
Yes, I get it.
He felt the pain of every other shareholder, including the smallest. Because if anything went wrong, he would have the biggest hit.
Yes, and let's also be honest, he instilled confidence.
Absolutely.
Because if he can put his money there with the reputation that he had as a financial mogul or as the person that he was, it brought a bit of confidence into the brand.
It brought a lot of confidence.
Not a bit, a lot of confidence.
A lot of
yes.
confidence.
Okay, sahi nimekushika.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but now, when James comes in, I remember he called us to the boardroom on his first day. And he's like, we are sitting on a gold mine. Those were among his first words.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no reason why this company cannot be as big as any other big company, and we could own our own complex, own building.
Mm.
I mean, these were very prophetic words coming out of
At
his
this
mouth.
time, you're still at International Lifehouse.
International Lifehouse with a half this space,
Oh, man.
So those were bold words.
For the record, Nabo Capital right now sits International Lifehouse
Yes.
on like a huge floor.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So anyway, we sat down from there and we started putting together a strategy, which we presented to the board. Remember, that's the time we had come from post-election violence.
Mm-hmm.
So some very, very important decisions were being made now, which was kind of like a breakaway from the past.
Mm.
James really wanted, him being on the outside for a year and something,
mm-hmm.
had made him see the opportunity from outside.
Okay.
So
was Transcentury affiliated with? Was any affiliation between that and
ICDCI?
Yeah.
No.
There was none, eh?
No.
So it's like he was poached back.
Yes, he was poached back.
He was poached back. Let's call it what it is.
Bring our blue boy back.
Yeah. He had been poached away from you guys, but you guys were like, bring him back.
Bring him back.
That's wonderful.
Back. So it was really nice to have him back.
Mm.
So these are the youngest CEO in the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
Mm.
He has a lot of energy and ambition for the organization. So he needed to build his own track record.
Mm.
And it had to start with very good plans. So we started putting together the Centum 2.0 strategy.
Aha.